So this is Aditya Joshi, and in this video we'll be discussing, will NMC listen to us? Will NMC listen to the students and the pleas of the parents? And will they validate this MBBS abroad situation? Will they provide any solid evidence and solution, or will they provide the exemption to Philippine students? Now, in order to get to the root cause of everything, you have to keep in mind three, four things. First of all, National Medical Council, or NMC, is a governmental organization, and we have a court case against a government organization. So that means the court hearing will keep on moving forward, and many a times they will not come to any conclusive answer. And we have seen this for the past 1.5 years. They have just given new dates back and back, and every time that we get our hopes up and we think that some solid answer will come out, they just give out a plain explanation to what they had stated before, and they give out a new date to come back to the court. Second thing is, NMC is not entirely wrong. You have to keep that in mind. I don't care how much we blame NMC for ruining the future of students and everything, but at some level, NMC is correct. And how is that? Because NMC just wants to validate those students who have received the knowledgeable MBBS graduated degree, and that means that students are indeed capable as doctors. They want to keep in mind, and they want to ensure that the people or the students which have gone abroad, they receive a graduation degree which will be as informative or as knowledgeable as those who have gotten their degree in government or private organizations in India. And in order to ensure that, they just try to give equal or similar scenarios to Indian students and MBBS abroad students. That means they wanted 54 months of MBBS just like it is practiced in India. They wanted an internship which should not be included in the theoretical part just like in India. But a major thing that they forgot to mention was the fact that almost 16-17 lakh students give NEET exam at the same time. And I gave NEET exam in 2020. So at my time, it was around 16-17 lakh, and it will increase in the subsequent coming years. So they forgot to tackle the situation that only 45,000 government medical seats are approved by the government. They have only generated 45 to 50,000 government medical seats. And the amount of students, or the increase in number of students who give NEET exam every year, is astronomical. Like, they can't even put it in a ratio. They can't even balance this out. So if our government, if our sarkar, if NMC is incapable of providing good medical education to Indian students at an affordable price, then they shouldn't have just blankly cut down any other MBBS abroad options. That was my point. Now, another thing to keep in mind is the fact that a lot of students, now we'll be talking about positives and negatives. So in order to have positive points and hopes for students, we have some strong points. First of all, the moment that NMC's notice came out, or those gazettes and new rules and regulations came out, a lot of us had already taken admission in MBBS abroad, whether it is BS or MD or I don't care, but we had taken admission before that 21st November 2021. So that means technically and logically, that gazette and rule shouldn't be applied to us. We should get an exemption. And I'm just saying this technically. Okay, I'm not proving it to you. I'm not giving it in writing, because they have not provided me anything. But this is just my view, that we had taken admission before their appointed date. That means their new rule should be based on the students who will be coming in upcoming years, not on us. So technically we should have been saved, and technically if we didn't increase our duration or we didn't get a license, there shouldn't be any problem, because we had taken admission before the gazette. But NMC is not allowing any of it to happen, which is a very bad point. Now, another positive point is the fact that even though we get license and everything, we'll be as knowledgeable as Indian government medical students. Now, a lot of students have asked me this a while ago, that Bhaiya, will we be as knowledgeable or as competent as someone who has gotten their MBBS degree from government medical colleges in India? So the straightforward answer is yes, because now FMG is they've scrapped this FMG exam. Now we'll all be having next exam, next 1 and 2. So in order to clear the next exam, Indian students also have to give next exam, and we also have to give next exam. So the positive of next exam is the fact that it is a generalized and common exam for us and them. That means those who had previously done their degrees from private colleges and like straightforward get their stamped on as MBBS doctor, they also have to clear this generalized exam now. So a lot of students also ask me that, Bhaiya, will the FMG passing ratio decrease or increase after incorporation of this next exam? So I'm giving a lot of information on the same video, but we'll get to the main point of NMC, but let me answer this question. So I think after generalization and after considering the fact that an Indian students and FMG both will have to give the same next exam, I think that passing ratio may increase. And there are a lot of reasons behind that. Now, I can't just predict straightforwardly whether it will increase or decrease. I mean, it may decrease, but there is a strong possibility that passing ratio of foreign medical graduates may increase. That is because they'll have to give a generalized exam. That means they'll have to give an exam which will be in accordance with Indian MBBS and MBBS abroad. So the questions won't be that hard, right? They won't go too hard on the FMGs. They can't possibly go too hard on the FMGs because that same question will be solved by Indian students also, which have studied in India. So I think the ratio might increase. Now coming over to the main discussion point, that is, will NMC listen to us? First of all, there has been a very, very strong uprising. Like almost every student, every parent, every agent, every organization, apart from NMC, have stood up against NMC, and they are trying to validate the MBBS abroad situation. Now we have provided, or the agents, I'm still a student, agents have provided two answers to this scenario that has been created. They said either we'll just will tweak our MBBS abroad procedure and will have necessary changes in the course duration, course structure, and how license has been provided. We'll change all that. Or second answer will be to go for exemption. Now, exemption is a short-term answer. It is a short-term solution. That means if we get exemption, then it will only be for the 2021-22 batch. Apart from that, they will still have to undergo major changes in MBBS abroad course duration and everything. For example, if I talk about Philippines, let's talk about Philippines for a second. We had BS plus MD. Previously, we had BS plus MD. BS was 1.5 to 2 years. And MD, including internship, was of 4 years. So total duration was 5.5 years. Now, agents used to say 5.5 years abroad, 5.5 years in India. It's all the same. Actually, now what they'll do is they'll just keep the BS, 1.5 years of BS. They can't possibly decrease the BS to 6 months. It is very, very unlikely. Now for the MD, they'll introduce 4.5 months of theoretical studies. That means proper MD will be 4.5 years of studies. That is 54 months. And then they'll include 1 year of clerkship in Philippines and then 1 year of internship in India, which is compulsory for everyone after giving next one exam. So this will be the new course duration. And we are hoping that NMC will allow this course duration. But the major setback or major obstacle in our path is the fact that we still aren't getting license from Philippines. We are getting registration number from the Philippines, and NMC as of now has clearly stated that registration number and license are two separate things. So they are demanding license from Philippines and other countries. Now for EU, European Union countries, they provide license, so that is a good thing. But for Philippines, they don't provide license because they have this reciprocal law within them. Now, reciprocal law states that in order to give a license to non-Philippine passport holder aspirant, first their country should provide a license to Filipinos. That means if India will provide a license to Filipinos, then Philippines will provide license to Indian students. But as of now, India does not provide a license to Philippine students. So that's why it is a very political issue, and I can't really comment on the fact or the matter. I don't know which solution will come out. Maybe NMC will change its gazette and say that, okay, registration number is allowed, or maybe Philippines. I've seen some drafts that state that Philippines will provide a license, but it won't be for practice. Like we won't be able to practice in the Philippines, but we'll get a license. So that will be authenticated and validated by Indian organizations like NMC. So that's a good point. But overall, I think that, see, at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, it is all about business. You have to keep in mind that it is indeed all about business. A lot of students have accused NMC, and a lot of organizations have accused NMC of being funded by private colleges in India and private organizations in India so that they could create more seats and more revenue for themselves. Now, it might be true, I can't comment much on that. But the fact at the end of the day is, it is always and it has always been about business. Education is a business in India and abroad, everywhere. So if we take into account of Philippine scenario or Russian scenario or any other country scenario, they will have to cure, or they will have to provide some solid changes and evidence to their current MBBS curriculum so that it fits into NMC rules, regulations and norms. Why is that? Because it is all about business and money can't be wasted. If they don't change and if they don't validate the MBBS degree provided by them, MBBS abroad, then the income source will end. Their income source will end. No one will come to those countries. So they can't afford that loss to themselves. So I think a solid solution will arise in the near future. But right now, if you ask me, should we go to MBBS abroad? I'd say that, look, if you haven't had any drop, if you haven't taken any drop, then go for a drop. Age isn't a huge setback to you if you haven't really taken a drop yet. If you are a dropper or if you have been a dropper for 2 or 3 subsequent years, then I think MBBS abroad will be an option for you. But come to Philippines only if you have no other option left. As for other countries, no country is 100% safe right now. There has been a lot of political issues arising with war scenarios and everything. So I think in order to have MBBS abroad as an option, it should be your last option. I'm not telling you to settle down. I don't want you to settle. I don't want you to choose BSc, MSc, physiotherapy, Ayurveda or any other thing. But I just want you guys to be safe. So at the end of the day, at the end of this video, to conclude everything, will NMC listen to students? Will NMC listen to us? I think NMC and those private organizations and MBBS abroad agents, they'll come to a common understanding. Some changes will happen to MBBS abroad and some changes will happen to guidelines provided by NMC. Like exemption is a possibility. I'm not declining that we won't ever get exemption. No, exemption is a possibility. But when will we get exemption? What I fear is that it may be too late to get an exemption because they're providing new dates and they're just pushing the dates forward. And by the time, if we have already gotten into MD program in Philippines, this is all about Philippines. If we had already gotten into MD program in Philippines and then they say, yeah, you can get exemption, then what will be the use? They already would have increased the course duration. Then it will be null and void. So it is all about timing. We can only sit back, we can only look, we can only plan ahead. That's why I had made some videos regarding USMLE, PLAB, MRCS, Australia, New Zealand and other countries, Canada, MCAT. You can go and watch those out. I'll warn you guys. I've done a lot of research and a lot of people said that, Bhaiya, these videos are not for us because we can't afford them. Actually, I already provided you with the list of exams and what will be the approximate monetary or financial conditions you'll need to be in order to give those exams. So you can go check those out. I'll update you in the future and I'll update if any solid evidence still comes out. Thank you.